Hi everybody, this is the first episode of a new series, DaDa Release. I will publish here a short informal video when a new DaDaBIK version, even a minor upgrade, like in this case, is published. So today I will discuss DaDaBIK 11.8 Elba. And for each video, in each video, we will discuss just the main new features. So this is probably an unexpected version. My original idea was to keep 11.7 as the latest 11 version. So the next version should have been a major upgrade, DaDaBIK 12. However, I changed my mind because I had some bug fixes to publish and also several new features. So here we go. We have a new 11 version. So let's go together through the changelog. As you can see, it's pretty long. It's not the typical changelog for a minor upgrade. We have many new features and a lot of bugs fixed. So we will discuss just the main new features. Some of them have been developed for the development of an application, an orders management application. I've been working during the last few weeks for a customer. The development of that application was very useful to, realize some missing things that DaDaBIK needed to have, and here we go. Now they are implemented. So let's go again through the changelog. Well, the very first thing is, a very different approach about the default password that DaDaBIK uses when you install it. As you probably know, DaDaBIK uses a default password for all the users created, typically 2 users basically, created during the installation. The password was Letizia. That approach was not very secure though. The application DaDaBIK warns you to change the password immediately after the installation, but maybe some people don't do it. And anyway, there was a sometimes very short, but sometimes a longer period where the application was exposed with a default password, and this is not good. So now DaDaBIK asks you for a custom password, a password that should meet some criteria, and the password will be used for all the users that DaDaBIK uses, DaDaBIK creates during the installation. So let me show you how it works. So this is the typical installation screen. Next. Okay, let's go on. All right, so now DaDaBIK asks for an installation password. Here we can see that the content that the password must have, at least one number, one lowercase letter, one uppercase letter, one special character. I can type the password here, and the system tells me while I'm typing that is weak. I can show the password. This is my password. So let's add some numbers, some special characters. Now it's fine, and I can install DaDaBIK. So this password will be used for the root and Alfonso users created by default by DaDaBIK. Okay, this was the very first thing. Second new feature I will discuss is my favorite one in this new release is the new layout tab in the admin area. So the general trend is that I will try to put more and more configuration configuration parameters and configuration settings in general that are in files here in the application, in the admin area. And we start with the layout settings. So now we have a layout tab here with 4 pages. We have basic settings here. We can change the logo, the application title, the theme, the grid layout scrolling, basically the things that you typically set in config custom.php related to the layout, and you can change it from here. So for example, this was the let's open let me change here from blue-gray to black and save. And now the theme is black. Okay. All right, first page, basic settings. By the way, if you prefer to use the old approach, you can still do it. There is a configuration parameter that, if set to 1, allows you to continue using config custom to set these parameters. Okay. Second tab is custom CSS. So here again, I think it's very handy. You can add your own custom CSS directly here without using or in addition to your styles screen custom CSS file. Okay, so you can add things here. So for example, here the example that provided by DaDaBIK here is this one. You want square buttons instead of this, rounded buttons. Okay, I can add this CSS style here, save, and here we go. Now we have square buttons. Okay, of course you can add many lines here. Okay, the dot was not correct here, by the way. Okay, second one. Third one, data grid templates. This was already available. The only thing is that data grid templates was here in the first line, now is part of the layout section. Okay. And finally, we have a layout hooks page that, at the moment is just an informative page, tells you something about layout hooks and some other information about how you can customize the layout, including a chapter of this video tutorial that discusses that. All right, so this was the layout tab. Since we are here, let me show you also the new automations tab. This is just an informative page. Basically, I can see some of the automations enabled in DaDaBIK. At the moment, we consider automations basically 3 things: email automation, operational hooks, and custom buttons. From here, I can see if email automation is enabled, and when I mention email automation, is not a new thing, is what we call email notices. So the ones you enable in your configuration file using this parameter, at the moment they are disabled, so you can monitor from here. For the moment you cannot change settings, but I think that the possibility to do it will be available quite soon. Operational hooks, at the moment we have on sales 2 operational hooks here. At the moment you can see here just the operational hooks related to tables and views. I'm telling you that because since version 11.8, this one, as we will see in a few minutes, we also have other operational hooks that are not related to tables and views, but I will tell you something about that later. And finally, we see here the custom buttons set. At the moment we have 2 custom buttons in this application. Convert this prospect and copy to invoice address. And here we can see the code type and the callback function that is related to the button. And finally, some examples and documentations here with the related chapter of a tutorial. So let's go on again through the changelog. So then we have several new features related to the customization of the whole login and self-registration process. Let's start with the self-registration process. So let me go back here and let me log out here. Okay, and register. Okay, as you can see here, we have 3 new fields. Accept terms and conditions. These are optional fields that you can add to your registration form, because maybe you need for GDPR or for your newsletter, some flags the user is required or can check during the registration. How do you control that? From here, by default, this parameter is set to 0, but it can be 1, 2, or 3. Okay, with 3, we will see 3 checkboxes. Here, you set that the first 2 ones are required and the last one is not, as you can see. And in your custom language file, you can set the wording here, including a link if you want. So it's pretty easy to customize the registration form. You can also now hide. There is a specific configuration parameter to hide first and last name in case you don't need those fields. And that was the first thing, but there is more. There are 2 operational hooks. The after login and after self-registration operational hooks. Why you should you might need it? Because sometimes, for example, to synchronize your DaDaBIK application with maybe other component of your information systems, you need to do something after a login or after a user registration. You now have 2 operational hooks, so you can add your PHP code and do whatever you want on the database, for example, or anything you need to do. And finally, the login form, this one, has now a new layout hook, a before login form layout hook. Why? Because here maybe you need to add some instructions, for example, some information for your user. So let me show that. Layout hooks. So it's hooks login form before, and I set this function DaDaBIK login before, and the function just prints this sentence: please use your company's credentials. Okay, let's save and reload. All right. Okay, so you don't have to, change the form. You have your layout hook that will be untouched when you upgrade DaDaBIK. So let's continue. Let me check the changelog again. Okay, next thing to discuss is menu page custom names. This is another little new feature that I like a lot. So let me show you something about that. Pages. All right, so here, as you know, you can set the page name for each page based on tables, views, or custom page. For example, here we have communications or companies, and this is what you see here, basically, right? Here and here. Now you can, and you have some useful information here. Now you can dynamically change the name of the page according to the group the user, the currently logged in user belongs to. So for example, with this kind of thing, I can say for group 1, the page name is company, and for group 2 is, I don't know, something else. Why this can be useful? I will tell you my use case, and I think it's not so rare. It could be very, very useful. In my use case, the orders management system I mentioned before, there was an orders table. Well, first of all, the system was accessible, is accessible, or will be, because the application is not ready yet, will be accessible both from the staff of the company and from the customers of the company. And so obviously they belong to two different groups, but they will both access the orders table. The thing is that the staff of the company need to see all the orders, while each customer must see only their own orders. Okay, but this is something that you can do very easily in DaDaBIK. However, the requirement was to show here as a page name here the title orders for the company, for the staff, and the title my orders for the customers. This is a little thing, but the only way to do that before version 11.8 was the creation of a view. So orders table, view my orders based on the orders table, and then I can I could change the title, because I had two different items here. However, that means a duplication of form configurations, duplication of permissions, and so on and so on and so forth. So too much work for a little thing. So with this new feature, you can use exactly the same table. So no form configuration and permissions duplication, and you just adjust the title here according to the group. Okay. You don't need to specify all the groups. There is a setting, a config setting that you can use to say, okay, if the group is not set, for all not set groups, use a default group, for example, group 1. And that's it. Okay, let's continue here. Since I am in the admin area, I will show you also this new feedback page. It's something that you can use to send us very quickly. Maybe you are working on DaDaBIK and there is something that you feel is missed, or something you really like. You click here, feedback, and you just send us what you like about DaDaBIK, what you don't like about DaDaBIK, and send. This could be very useful for us. And well, these are the main new features I wanted to discuss. As we said, there are a lot of little new features that we won't discuss here and there. Also, several of the libraries we use have been updated. Maybe I can show you something about chart.js, because chart.js, the library we use, the JavaScript library we use for chart generation, got a major upgrade. So maybe you can notice something. Let me show something here. Generate chart, for example, line chart on sales. We want to see the sales we have for each week. All right, so the default line chart I think is way more clear than before, because before by default we had a gray line on a gray chart that was not very readable. Now it's way better. And what else? Again, you can, you should read the changelog to read about all the new features and about the bugs fixed. During the these videos in this DaDa Release series, we won't discuss bugs fixed, but you should read the changelog, because in particular in this version there are 2-3 important bugs that have been fixed. All right, I think that's it. So for today, it's that was everything I wanted to discuss. So see you next time. Ciao.